My great pleasure to introduce Vin Gupta. He's one of the earlier founders and entrepreneurs. He started a great company called Info USA, which is still a public company valued at $700 million. He went on to start many other ventures and actively involved in many other philanthropic causes. He's most well known as the golfing buddy of former President William Jefferson Clinton and instrumental in bringing him to the conference here. Vinod, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey. I know it's a very open question, but a couple of nuggets so that our emerging entrepreneurs can learn from you. What is the impetus that is required? What is the inspiration that is required to hit the nail?
Well, in my case, it was an accident. I mean, I had been involved in a couple of ventures in Lincoln, Nebraska. One was importing Indian artifacts, and I failed in that due to a labor union problem. And then I was also involved in importing semi-precious stones from India, which kind of gave me what I call is a education about selling. You know, how do you approach customers and meet their needs? And then I started the current company, Info USA, with $100 now, which I borrowed because I was broke. And I think the basic thing is learning and understanding the need of the customer. And if the need is fairly large, then, and you fulfill that need, that is the start of an entrepreneur. If I think there's a need for a jacket, where the weather is cold, and it's not just one person who needs a jacket, there are thousands of people who need a jacket, and if you can create a jacket, make a nice jacket, which you can afford, people will buy it now. So that's the number one thing, is understanding the need in the marketplace. And then you have to have a passion for it, that you really want to do it. So I think those are the key ingredients.
I want to take you to your village. I think you took President Clinton to your village.
That's correct.
Tell us a bit about the journey.
Well, you know, I grew up in a small village near Saharanpur in UP, and about 8,000 people there. I went to a little village, you know, what do you call it, a government school, and then fortunately, you know, I went to IIT Kharagpur, which was like a life-changing event, and then after that I came here. I got to know President Clinton in 1995 at a dinner in Washington, D.C. And I kind of chided him for being pro-China and anti-India. And I said, unfortunately, the American presidents like dictatorships, you know, and they just don't like democracies like India, you know. And he was kind of taken back by that. And then, of course, he and I became friends. We played golf. He's like my golf coach, you know, and he's improved my golf. But he never forgot that somehow we are a democracy in this country, and a lot of American presidents have a hard time dealing with democracies. And finally, he did go to India in 2000, and he was just absolutely captivated by India. You know. He addressed a joint session of parliament. He went to the villages. He danced with the village women. He ate in the restaurants. And he spent 4 or 5 days there. You know. And then after his presidency was over, then I took him to my village, you know, because I had set up a school for the girls in the village, you know, a polytechnic. So they could, after their high school, we could train them into what I call as vocational programs, computer science, etc. And they could get jobs. You know. So I took him there, and he was just absolutely impressed that these village girls could speak, you know, very good English. We had computers for them in this village. They knew how to operate the computers, and they could get jobs. You know. So he's been there once, and he was very, very happy. And then we set up another school named after Hillary Clinton, School of Mass Communication. And because in India today, the press is thriving, you know, radios, TVs, local papers, and as a matter of fact, the newspaper circulation is going up in India, you know, as opposed to U.S. So we set up a school of mass communication for the girls, and it's natural for the girls. You know. So it has been great. You know.
why do, I know the world over, he's admired greatly, but why do Indians especially love President Clinton so much still?
I think it's the love goes both ways. When Hillary went to India during his presidency, and she was really, what I call it, she genuinely showed the love for Indians. You can have presidents or world leaders can go into a country and they can look good, but they may not love it. And it shows. Okay? And when President Clinton went there, he just absolutely loved it. He was exposed to India before, he was exposed to Indian students in college. And he just loved that democracy, he just loved the color of the people, the freedom they enjoyed. Everybody has the freedom to criticize anybody, And he just absolutely loved that, and the love is both ways. I mean, there are other presidents who have gone there, which I will not name names, but they were kind of standoffish. They did not show that natural love, And in his case, he did. And I think President Obama would do the same thing, because he's not been to India, but he loves Indians. He loves what's Indian. And one thing I'll tell you about President Clinton is, when I was going to India and I said, well, what would you like from India? And he said, well, get me a little sandalwood elephant god. That's
Ganesha.
Ganesha. And he loves Ganesh. That's kind of his favorite god. So that just shows his true love.
We'll talk about IITians, Pan-IIT in particular, and the influence, in USA and hopefully across the world. Where was the need, and why do we have to establish this identity and brand recognition, not just in this country, but around the globe?
Well, when I came here 42 years ago, the IIT brand was known to engineering colleges here. But public didn't really know that, A, how tough it was to get into IIT in India. Number two, you could not buy your way into IIT, unlike universities here. No. Okay. If your family establishes $1 million or $2 million building, you get in. But in India, you couldn't do it. And that is a fascinating part. Your father could be president of India, minister, prime minister of India, or your father could be a billion-dollar industrialist. But if you don't pass that test, you don't get in. Okay, and that's what makes it so unique. When that was covered in that 60-minute clip, that really kind of gave it what I call as instant brand. And of course, there were thousands of IIT graduates here. They've been working all over. So that really put that brand on the forefront. And of course, Penn IIT has taken the cue from that and then say, okay, how do we take this brand even further? And what my suggestion to Penn IIT is that, sure, we can have these meetings and all this, and we can give awards, whatever, but we need to be thinking about how can we make these IITs even better? Okay, let's just not be limited to technical education. I think technology is a means to a better life. But how can we make these IITs to be wholesome? So like I had set up a school of management at IIT Kharagpur, and President of India came there in 1994. And then I just set up a school of intellectual property law at IIT. We need to make these IITs, offer more curriculum, leadership skills, and make them more wholesome, and not just be technology institute.
Vinod, thank you so much for the opportunity. Appreciate your time.
Well, thank you very much.